What Should I Do Wednesday. I hope you guys are having a fantastic, magical, wonderful middle of your week. I know I am. I slept decently last night. I had a lot of dreams, but they weren't bad. In fact, they were all good and wonderful and really funny. Like, there was a couple where I woke up laughing, which are always good ones. So I feel semi-well rested. I say semi-well rested because one night of sleep does not make up for the 15 other ones that I have gotten zero sleep. But it's given me enough motivation to get some stuff done this morning. I finished up homework. I did my spooky movie review, which is now posted to the page. And I got a new bow. Because as we discussed yesterday, I'm going to start wearing bows. Either up or down, I don't know, depending on the bow will constitute the hair that goes with it, because bigger ones need your hair up because it just doesn't look right if it's down. Littler ones, like the purple one, can be worn with their hair down. And I like it. It makes me happy, and it makes it fun, and it changes it up, and it gives me an excuse to go shopping, which anyone who knows me well knows I like to shop. For a good deal, mind you. I don't just go crazy. I'm not one of those people who don't look at the price tag because I am a stickler for that kind of crap. But if there's a good deal in front of me, I will not pass it up. And so I do have to go shopping for more bows because this is the only other one I had. And it is now time to go shopping for bows, which I know a really good place to get them really cheap. So I'm really happy about that. But anyway, we are not here to talk about bows and sleep. And good dreams. We are here for What Should I Do Wednesday, where you guys typically ask me all of your general paranormal related questions all up on the Facebook page. But if you notice, I don't have my computer today because I decided to go off the beaten path a little bit again and talk about a couple of things that have come across the page that have really piqued my interest, and it's something that we haven't talked about yet. And I wanted to discuss them because I had my own little thoughts on them. And the first thing we are going to discuss is sleep paralysis. Now, this was on the Facebook page. It was posted yesterday, and anybody who has never experienced it, thank God. I experienced sleep paralysis for the first time when I was about 13 or 14. This was also the time when my night terrors kind of happened. Not on a consistent basis as they did as I got older, but I remember the first time I ever experienced sleep paralysis. I woke up and I could not breathe. I could see everything, but everything was magnified. It was like I was in another dimension. Like, everything was kind of moving really slow, but it was really big and pronounced. I could see like people at the end of my bed, and they were like weird looking, and I was terrified. I remember I could not move. I could not breathe. I felt like a rock was on my chest, and it was the scariest thing in the world, and all I was trying to do was scream, and I could not scream. I couldn't lift my hands above my head, and I prayed to God, let this be over, please, let me wake up. I knew something was wrong. I knew that this was not your normal run-of-the-mill nightmare or dream. This was bad, and I didn't know what it was, but all I knew was I was terrified, and I swore I was going to die. And as soon as it started, it ended. And I woke up, and I thought to myself, I sat straight up in bed. And I might as well have just taken a shower. I was soaked head to toe in sweat. My head was dripping wet. I was terrified. I was just crying. I didn't know what the hell to do. I called out for my mom, and she came in and was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, I don't know. I don't understand. I just need to get up. I need a shower. All I kept thinking about was I needed a shower. Like, I felt really dirty, and I don't know why. I mean, I don't like to sweat anyway, but this was just disgusting. And so my mom, cleaned up my bed, and I took a shower, and I came back to bed, and it took me forever to go back to sleep. And it didn't happen again until I was probably in my late teens. I was probably 17 or 18. And it started happening on a consistent basis, and they were coincided with my night terrors. I would remember, waking up, but it was, the problem was they had taken a more personal turn. This was around the time that I lost my best friend Camden that we've talked about before, and a lot of my dreams and my emotions centered around that incident. My night terrors were triggered full force by that point, and I remember having these episodes, and I would see him at the foot of my bed, and he would be, bloody, and he would look as he did the day that he had his accident. And I remember that sense of helplessness, and not being able to do anything just came flooding back. It was the most evil thing to me. Like, I would have rather experienced anything else other than that. Because here I am laying in bed. I cannot move. I can't breathe. I can't think straight. And all I see is him standing there, holding his hand out, begging for me to help him, and I can't. And I would hear him scream over and over and over and over. And it would just be that guttural, that scream that I heard, that whimper and that whine. It was almost like his accident was replaying in my head, and there was nothing I could do about it. And it is the most god-awful feeling on the planet. And so when I seen this come across the page, I knew I wanted to talk about it because it's something that I've experienced, and anytime I've experienced something that is talked about on the page, I always want to share my story. Not for attention, not for, oh, woe is me, but to let everyone know that someone that they interact with on a daily basis has been there, and they get it, and they understand. And I'm going to be the last person to judge you because I've experienced it, and it sucks. And it gets me emotional because I don't want to fathom the thought of ever experiencing it again, and I don't want to fathom the thought of anyone I love or care about ever having to go through that. It is absolutely one of the most horrific things that you can ever go through, next to night terrors. I think night terrors and sleep paralysis kind of go hand in hand, and they're kind of on the same page. They're not fun, and they are not something that I would even wish on my worst enemy, because you're out of control. You don't have any control over yourself. And I think that is a human being's worst fear, is not having control in your own life. And sleep is a evil little bastard, in the sense that it can take you to a place that you don't want to go, and it can cause things to happen that you don't want to experience. And so I wanted to talk about it because I've experienced it, and I wanted to let you guys know, as always, that I'm here to talk about it, and it sucks. And my messenger is open to discuss anything that you want to talk about, because it's a very real thing. Most people are like, oh, it's not real, it's just a dream. No, it is very real. And for anyone who's never experienced it, you have no room to talk until you do, because it is terrifying. So, rant over on sleep paralysis. Moving on to something that gets me a little sassy. I know. Color me surprised. Rachel sassy. I know. Right? Again, something else that's been on the page is this whole Slender Man thing. Okay. For those of you who don't know, and there's a whole thing that you can read on the page about Slender Man. It was a fictional character that was created, I believe, in like 2008 or 2009. by this guy on the internet of this man who was like 7 foot tall, and he wore this suit, and he would, you know, he was like this evil man, whatever, that would kidnap and torment people, especially kids, right? Like he would manipulate them into doing all this stuff and like following. It's the classic like stupid urban legend, right? Problem is, it became such a huge thing that there were people like murdering people, and they were all kids. They were all like teenagers. Like a kid came after his mom with a knife, and a group of girls stabbed this one girl like 19 times, and it was a hot mess express. Like, I remember reading all of these stories and going, what the F? Seriously, people? Now, I remember being a teenage girl and, you know, falling into the trap of urban legends, you know, like the, you know, Bloody Mary and doing all these weird things that, you know, to get the thrill, right? Like, there was a hospital in the town that I grew up in, and it, for many years, was a hospital, and then it was kind of converted into like an assisted living home, and then it was bought by this family, and they lived there for a while, and then it was just abandoned. And it was the scariest freaking thing on the planet. Like, it was this ominous white house that everybody knew about. And when I was probably 11 or 12, we, you know, back in the day, that was back in the day, like when you could let your kids like go and roam and do, you know, I grew up in a small town, and you could go and jump on your bike and be gone till the streetlights came on and you were coming home. You know, there was no, you had to watch and make sure no one took your kids type of thing. And so my friends and I, we would jump on our bikes and we would ride to this house, and we'd stand there and stare at it. Be like, who's going in? Who's going in? And me being me, I've always kind of been like that get up and go kind of person. I was like, I'll go. And so, you know, we would go at night, we'd sneak into this place. I don't know how many times the cops threw us out of this damn place for trespassing. I don't even know. I don't even care. But it was a blast. And there was a legend that went with the house, that this old man who was a caretaker lived there, and it was haunted. And it was haunted, by the way, I'm just saying. I've seen way too much crap in there that was unexplainable. Whatever. So, but you know, you would go in there, and it was this house had its own legend, right? We would go in there, and you'd stand in this one room, and you'd count to 15, and apparently, you know, just it had a whole mess of crap that went with it. And I've done it. We've all done it. Like, it was kind of a rite of passage in our hometown. Like, if you didn't do it, then you were labeled a chicken, and it just whatever. So going back to that, you know, it took me back to my childhood, but I never went as far as like hurting people or, you know, getting wrapped up in all of that. This has taken a whole new level. I think that, and a question was posed on this article about, you know, do you think that legends like this can really kind of open up a portal into a subconscious of evil that is maybe already lying within somebody? And it's a really good question, and it's kind of where my topic of discussion is going. You know, you have this fictional character that, with enough believable evidence, can really mess with a person's mind. I think that they really can be messed with on a mental level, and a social and emotional level that isn't healthy. And I think fear takes over. You know, these girls that stabbed this one girl 19 times and basically left her to die to go and like join his proxy or whatever, are now, they've ruined their life because, oh, you fell into a trap of something fake. You tried to be crazy. You tried to play it off as a mental defense. You've now both been determined competent to stand trial, and you are facing murder charges or attempted murder charges, and you're going to spend some time in prison. Good job. And it all could have been prevented because you weren't influenced by anybody. You were influenced by yourself. You chose to do these things yourself. But what's going on in their mind? You know, to us, we're like, oh, well, you're crazy. But in your mind, what is in their head? What did they see, feel, experience? in order to have this sort of reaction? What's their home life like, or how have they grown up, or is there something, you know, more to this? Because you look at it from an outsider's point of view and you're like, oh, well, you're crazy. But if you look at it from like a paranormal point of view or a supernatural point of view, it's like, well, are they experiencing other activity? Is there this factor? Is there this factor? And then it becomes a science experiment. But I know that the Slender Man sightings and the Slender Man stuff has been all over the internet for a while, especially since these girls and these people have made headlines about like attacking people and killing. Just a hot mess express. And my thought is, and the answers to my opinions to those questions are, I think it's very possible to get wrapped up in something so tight that it becomes an alternate reality. I think that you can get so lost in something that it's all consuming. And I think that with these girls and this kid that, you know, attempted to stab his mom, I think they got wrapped up in the thrill of this thing, this Slender Man. You know, they got wrapped up in the thrill of it and the fear of it. I think that fear took over and they reacted on fear. They were in fight or flight. They're young. You know, they're 12 and 13 years old, I think. They're not like, you know, they're not like 17, 18, quite old enough to know better. They know right from wrong, but I think that fear took over and they made a very large mistake. And now the problem is, what have you done to their psyche that was maybe already slightly damaged? And again, I would look at their home life. I would look at why they were even exposed to something like this at, you know, 12 or 13, or, you know, how they were even, you know, their parental guidance on this. I mean, at 12 and 13, you can't just let kids hop on the internet like you used to be able to. I mean, there's just way too much out there. It's just not okay. And as a parent of a child who's closer to that age than she used to be, it's becoming a very real thing for me. You know, she's wanting to get on YouTube. She's wanting to get on all these things and do all this stuff. And I have to really watch what she does. I have to lock down everything and put parental locks and everything, because I don't want her to see something that I have to explain that she doesn't need to see right now. And so I think that fear took over. They made a mistake. They got wrapped up in this alternate reality, and now they're paying for it. And that's really sad. And I think that it all comes down to what you let your kids see when you let them see it. The world is always going to be full of urban legends and hoaxes and things to instill fear, because fear is one of those emotions that are so overpowering and so adrenaline based that the need is almost always there. And so something is always going to come along. You know, we had the Slender Man and we had the Charlie game, which we know was a hoax for the new movie The Gallows that's coming out at the end of the week, that I'm really excited to see, by the way. And so I think it's just going to be one of those situations where you've got to get it together. Like, you have to. You've got to make sure that you've always got an eye on your kids, because you never know what they're going to see, and you never know what they're going to be exposed to, and it's just infuriating. I don't know. It's just making me mad. Like, it's just stupid to me. And maybe it's because I'm an adult. I mean, I can't say that at 13 I wouldn't have gotten wrapped up in it either and been intrigued by it, but I wouldn't have taken it that far. Like, you couldn't pay me enough money to take it as far as these kids did. And so I just wanted to give my thoughts on it, because I like doing it this way as opposed to typing up some long-winded thing on the page. I like to put it on my videos. And my Wednesday videos are kind of the perfect outlet to talk about all things paranormal and supernatural related. And so I chose to do that today. Now, that doesn't mean that I still, won't take your questions. Anytime you guys have a question, feel free to ask me. I will answer it. But I wanted to do this today just to switch it up a little bit and make it a little different and a little more, I don't know, exciting, I guess. But that is all I have for What Should I Do Wednesday. I will see you guys on Friday for GA Flashback Friday, where we recap one of our past episodes of Ghost Adventures. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Much love and happiness.